Hello, good evening. How was your day? My name is Stavely Joshua, the Registrar of the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management. We have been on a training uh, for some days now, and we have been discussing peace and sustainable development. And peace and sustainable development is a course uh, offered by the Institute of Global Peace and Conflict Management to, you know, provide knowledge on peace and sustainable development. Of course, the course is being provided for free, and we have participants that used to join to get knowledge and at the same time receive certificate at the end of the training. So, um, once again, I want to thank you for taking time to be part of today's training. It has been awesome having you join this training all the time, all the way from Pakistan, from India, Nigeria, from Kenya, from Botswana, from to Zambia, all of these places. We have people connecting to this training, Cameroon and several others. So I want to appreciate all of you taking time to be part of the training. It has been an awesome experience, and we really appreciate all of you for your participation. So today we are going to continue from where we stopped, but as part of our tradition, if you connect, try to you know share the link with someone. Let them also be part of the training. Let them also know what is going on here, so that they can take advantage of our training, get skills, and improve. Do you understand? Get skills and improve. People are submitting this certificate in their working places for promotion, some for looking for new jobs and all of that. So it's going to be a great opportunity if you can take a course with us so that you can have knowledge. Provided it's free, you're not paying anything. So why not do it? So thank you very much for those of you that have been taking time to connect. We appreciate all of you and your consistent participation. We appreciate all of you for your I will believe that you are not going to live here the same way you join. You gain valuable knowledge as far as this training is concerned. You gain valuable knowledge to be part of what is happening in the development sector in terms of peace and conflict management. So we really want to appreciate you for taking time to be part of today's training. So we invite you to participate actively by sharing the link with someone and also making all right. So today we are going to look at module 3 of this course, and we'll be looking at environmental sustainability. Environmental what? Environmental sustainability and development. So this is what we'll be looking at today: environmental sustainability and development. So environmental sustainability is is practically connected to development. Do you understand? Because development must ensure the protection of environment. Any development that cannot prioritize the protection of the environment, automatically that development is a failed one. And I think that's the reason why, because we did not put environment into cognizance right from time, the environment is like fighting humanity. Do you understand? The environment is fighting humanity because humanity ignored the place of environment in our ecosystem. So environment is reacting because it was not protected. So the environment is harmed. So now we are talking about climate change because the environment was not duly taken care of. We realize now that, oh, we have, some of you are just witnessing what is happening in the US about the hurricane meeting. Do you understand? Meeting. It's just cutting across and making massive destructions and all of that. Heavy winds and strong winds. Are you point now? Talk about cyclones, hurricanes, talk about the um, snow and dry seasons, and in some places, desertification and drought everywhere. You know, it's a problem. It's a problem because man refuses or refuse to give environment attention from the onset. So now we realize that, oh, we need to give environment attention. And so efforts are being geared towards making sure that the environment is being protected. And that's why we have the Paris Agreement. It's an effort towards making sure that the environment receive protection. Do you understand? So that is what it is. So sustainable development or environmental sustainability and development are intertwined. They are connected. Do you understand? They are connected because you cannot do with with sustainable development and not address the issue of environment. If it must be sustainable development, the environment must be protected. Do you understand? So these are the things that we're going to look at in today's uh, training. So just like I said before, you can, if you have joined us, you can share the link with someone, invite someone to be part of today's training. Tell them it's free. Let them come and participate. All right. So now to consider when you are talking about environmental sustainability within the context of development, right? So what are the issues to be considered? What are the areas of focus to look into when you are trying to address the issue of environmental sustainability in the context of what development? So we have several points that we'll be considering here. Number one is promoting sustainable resource management. Promoting what? Sustainable resource management. You have oil, use it well. That's, you have crude oil, use it well. You have arable farms, use it well. You have forests, use it well. You have water, uh, you know, water water lines, use those lines very well. Use those waters very well. Do you understand? So it matters a lot because before you know it, the land will not be productive again if it's being misused and mismanaged. Do you understand? So if land is mismanaged, before you know it, it will not be yielding result again. You plant or you harvest nothing because the land has been abused. Do you understand? So that's why in the village sometimes we do what we call shifting cultivation. Shifting what? Cultivation. After you cultivate on a particular land for a while, you allow it to recuperate. That's, you allow it to come back to its originality. That is by not farming on that land for like 1 to 3 years. But nowadays, because of increase in population and the lack of the availability of arable farm lands, people are farming consistently on their lands. Do you understand? And that is why we need to apply manure, whether natural, organic, or fertilizer, or anyone. But you must, apply those manure to make sure that the land is fertile. Do you understand? It's very unfortunate that fertilizer is very expensive. Do you understand? It's very expensive. But if you must get the desired result, fertilization must also apply. Do you understand? So sustainable resource management is key in the context of environmental sustainability and development. Do you understand? Because if you refuse to manage your resources well, before you know it, it will finish. All resources we have are infinite, most especially um, those resources that are not considered as renewable energies. Do you understand? Renewable sources or renewable sources of energies. If we are talking about air, which is also a renewable energy source, cannot finish. But when you talk about oil, you talk about water. Water can dry. Do you understand? Talk about other trees, species of trees, they can vanish over time if they are abused. Do you understand? Let me tell you something. In my own place, we used to hunt rat, bush rat, rat. We used to hunt it very well and eat it. So over time, we discovered that we used to go long distance to go and hunt before we catch rat. Do you understand? Because it means that we abuse the hunting of rats. So they will know where you have to search and struggle to get rats because we have consumed them yet. So they are no more available. You understand? So that's what it is. I just give you a local example. So promote sustainable resource management is one promoting sustainable resource management is one of the key things that you need to talk about when you're talking about environmental sustainability in the context of what development. Number two is mitigate climate change. Mitigate what? Climate change. If the environment must be sustainable, then the issue of climate change must be addressed. Do you understand? Because you have to take actions to mitigate climate change by reducing greenhouse gases emissions, transmit, transition to renewable energies, and then improving what? Energy efficiency. So these are the key things that you must put in place to make sure that the issue of environmental sustainability is achieved. Do you understand? So you have to support initiatives that promote climate resilience and adaptation strategies, you know, to so that's the reason why we even have the Paris Agreement. What is the essence of the Paris Agreement? The agreement is to say, okay, come, let's reason together. What can we do to address environmental challenges? Do you understand? So, and then people come together to share ideas, develop a development path, and then they say, okay, this we're going to put in effort together collectively to address these challenges. The challenge now is that there is argument. African African countries are saying that the West is the one, they are the ones that, because of development, has um, degenerate the environment to where it is, and then we're talking about the issue of climate change. So they should pay more for it. You understand? They should pay more for it. And so it has been a challenging situation, even at the United Nations, trying to mobilize resources for the issue of climate change. Do you understand? But certain countries are taking steps to, address some of those issues, like using electric cars, using, you know, cars that use water instead of fuel and all of that. So we have countries that are taking steps, even they're generating electricity using air and all of that. So they are moving towards that. You understand? Even though some countries are lacking behind, but several countries are taking steps to make sure that they have this being achieved. That is Number two, so mitigating what climate change is one of the issues to address when talking about the issue of environmental sustainability. If you do not talk about the issue of climate change, then you have not started. Do you understand? So you also have to protect biodiversity. Biodiversity. Do you understand? Because we have different species of plants, animals, and microorganisms, fungi. All of them must be protected. Their lives and those lives must be protected. Because if we do not protect them, over time they may disappear. Do you understand? How many of you, we'll talk about Iroko tree. How many of you have seen Iroko tree? Very few people may say, I have seen it. Do you understand? So it takes the preservation of those kind of species to continue to be in existence. Do you understand? There's one plant we used to call in my place marina. Do you understand? That kind of plant, because of roof roofing activities and all of that, it was almost wiped out. Do you understand? Because people use it for roofing of houses and all of that. So it was almost wiped out. So there are several species, all right, that needs to be protected. All right. So we need to preserve eco uh, systems and, of course, the biodiversity that are domiciled in that ecosystem. Do you understand? Because if we do not do it, it will become a problem because these species are being endangered, right? They're endangered, so they must be protected, right? So when you recognize the intrinsic value of biodiversity for ecosystem health, food security, and human well-being, then you have to protect the biodiversity. Do you understand? So that's number three issues that we need to address when we're talking about environmental sustainability. We must address this issue. Do you understand? Environmental world sustainability. So we'll talk about three of them so far of key issues that you need to address when you're talking about environmental sustainability. One, promoting what? Sustainable resource management. That's number one. Number two, is talk about mitigating climate change. The impact of climate change must be addressed. Number three is protect biodiversity. Protect what? Biodiversity. So that's what it is. So number four, promote sustainable agriculture. Promote what? Sustainable agriculture. Conservation, biodiversity conservation, and reduce harmful agricultural chemicals. Do you understand? So, because some of these chemicals, when you use some of these chemicals that we use to, like, okay, for weeding of bushes, do you understand? Some of them are too strong. So sometimes if we use it, it will take time for grasses to come back. Do you understand? And then it affects the soil. So the health of the soil is being affected. So if we must use chemical to weed, it should be the ones that can generate manure, okay, that can make the soil so fertile for your crops. Do you understand? So that is what we need to do. So if we must farm, let that farming activity be, sustainable. And of course, this bring about the issue of uh, ranches that we were talking about here. So that when you have animals, the animals should be properly taken care of, kept in a place, and then well taken care of, well fed, well treated. Do you understand? All of this is what we're talking about now in this situation now. But we still see um, all of these animals being moved around, even in our cities, our villages, and it's part of the reason why we are having crisis, all right, here and there, simply because um, the herders may not have the resources to build ranches. Do you understand? They may not have money enough to build ranches, and of course, they must feed the animals. So they have to move. So it's also we have to understand with them. So maybe government should have developed policies and programs to support um, um, sustainable agricultural practices. Do you understand? Policies, programs that will encourage um, people who go into animal husbandry or into crop productions, into fish farming and other aspects of agriculture to embrace such. And then maybe soft loans should be provided for them to be able to acquire resources to be able to maintain their farm. So, but in the absence of all of this, then animals must survive, farmers must survive, everybody must survive. So, but you have seen all of these things are causing crisis. There are clashes here and there. Do you understand? Between the headers and the farmers. So it's an issue. So we are looking at it, all right? So so you need to deal with the issue of sustainable agricultural practices. It's also another issue that we are saying that we must address when we're talking about sustainable development. Another issue we are talking about is the issue of waste management, right? Reduce waste and promote circular economy. Do you understand? Reduce what? Waste. See, if we look at our cities are very dirty. Abuja, Lagos, I'm talking about Nigeria, for instance, now. But I think I remember I told you here some time ago that one of the cleanest cities in Africa is Kigali, right? So it's possible that we can have such kind of cities, clean cities, must be properly managed. Waste management is one of the key things that we should pay attention to. So when we implement waste reduction strategies, promote recycling and reuse initiatives, and support the transition to a circular economy that minimizes resource consumption and waste generation, then we are on a path towards environmental sustainability. But so far as we see waste in our waters and making the water so dirty, adulterated, do you understand? It even endangers life in the water or beneath the water. Do you understand? So it endangers the lives there. Do you understand? So it's possible we need to address some of these things. You know. So and if you look at our cities, you see polythenes everywhere. You see sachet water, these things they fly about everywhere. Do you understand? Because the issue of waste management is a problem. People don't have the culture of waste management. Like a person like me, sometimes if I take maybe orange, that chap that remains, for me to throw it anyhow, it takes time. Do you understand? I must find a location whereby I feel that okay, in this place I can throw it. I can throw it. Do you understand? For some people, they don't care. You see a very clean environment like this. You eat biscuit, you drop it there. You drink sachet water, drop it there. If you talk now, you say, there are people here now that are being paid to sweep this thing. That is not it. That's not it. We must all have the culture of, you know, reducing waste. And whenever we use anything that will generate waste, we must dispose those waste properly. Do you understand? We must dispose those waste properly. It's key. So this is another issue that must be addressed in the context of development and of course environmental sustainability. Do you understand? Then we'll talk about ensure access to clean water and sanitation. Ensure what? access to clean water and sanitation. People must have access to, you know, water that is not just clean, but also can be used for human purposes. Do you understand? So, but if you look at our waters today, they are very dirty, right? And that's why we have rivers in our country, but we don't have water. We have rivers, but we don't have water. I don't know if that statement makes sense to you. We have rivers, but we don't have water. In even in cities like Abuja, it's only in few places that you see water. All right. Go to our state. If go to Benue State, they have greater water works, but it's not working. But we are every year, River Benue is always sweeping people. Go to Kogi State, it's the same thing. The conference state, River Niger and River Benue, where they met, they always sweep them, but they don't have water. Do you understand? So, what are we talking about? Ensure access to clean water. And one of the things that will ensure that we have access to clean water is when we reduce waste. If we do not reduce waste, clean water may be difficult to get. Do you understand? So, and then we talk about the issue of sanitation. Sanitation, right? So we have to, make sure that we sanitize our environment. So be conscious of these things. In your own yard, keep it clean. All right, keep it clean. Don't just drop things. All right, it's very important. Then we'll talk about the issue of pollution. All right, you have to address pollution issues because our air, our waters, our you know our environment is way so much polluted. So they need to be addressed, right? Our air, our waters, and our soil must be uh, addressed, must be treated, must all these pollutions must be addressed. But see, right now I'm on generator to do this training. You understand? I'm running generator to do this training. Why? Why? Because there's no light. So as to me, it's the generator that emits. Now, of course, it's emitting. It's just that it's not much, but it's emitting. Do you understand? If it were the one I was using, we go past my neighbor. By now, but don't give people smoke for this compound. Do you understand? But don't dash people smoke and one smell that is so toxic. Do you understand? So, but that's what is happening. So there are people that are using past my neighbor. There are people that are using heavy generators that emit a lot of smoke and all of that. What about our vehicles? You understand? People don't maintain their vehicle, they are smoking and all of that. So all of these are causing environmental pollution and they must be addressed. So if we are talking about the issue of environmental sustainability, the issue of pollution also must be addressed. Otherwise, that development will not be sustainable. So another point to consider when you're talking about environmental sustainability is to engage stakeholders and raise awareness. Engaging they must be engaged in the process. They must So are we together? Please remember to share this meeting with someone, invite them to take a free training with us, and also try to like, comment what you are listening, what you are hearing, what you are understanding. Ask your questions, make observations, and all of that. We address them maybe at the end of the training session. All right. So we have discussed several points that you need to consider when you are talking about the issue of environmental sustainability. And by way of a recap, let me just do a way of recap. We'll talk about the issue of sustainable resource management. All right. We'll talk about mitigating climate change, protecting biodiversity. We'll talk about promoting um, sustainable agriculture. I will talk about, of course, reduction of waste because our cities are full of rubbish and they must be taken care of. So ensure access to clean water and sanitation, address pollutions. These are the issues that must be addressed in the context of environmental sustainability and development. And then, of course, you alone cannot do it. Me alone cannot do it. We must engage several stakeholders to make sure that this thing is being addressed. Do you understand? So let's look at environmental challenges. This is our unit one, environmental what challenges. What are the various environmental challenges that are confronting us as humans? There are several of those environmental challenges that we are, are facing us as humans. And of course, there are those challenges that are confronting the environment itself because the environment is suffering just as we are also suffering. You understand? So, and there are several challenges that must be addressed. And one of those challenges is what the issue of climate change and its impact. Climate change and what its impact. Because climate change is having, um, you know, a very um, devastating impact on our environment, on human lives, on developmental issues. Because you can see what is happening in the US, for instance. Now, if it's in a place where the issue of um, emergency management is not properly taken care of, if there is US is not a place where developmental issues and maintenance culture is not properly put in place, I can tell you by now it would have been a rubbish country. Nobody would have loved to go to US. Do you understand? Because of hurricanes, cyclones, and all of those ones. Because when they come with mass destruction, massive destruction. And sometimes human beings are being evacuated because of the help of technology to, to just to, monitor the movement of the wind. But when you evacuate human beings, you cannot evacuate houses, you cannot evacuate trees, you cannot evacuate, um, you know, electric poles and several others. So those are the things that hurricanes use. They use to celebrate their coming. Do you understand? I saw one community in US some time ago where that is the whole of that community. No roof was sitting on the building. No roof because of wind. That is carry everything. Watch the video. The person said, I live in this community for about 30 something years. This is the first time we experience something like this. You understand? Very devastating experiences. So environment is facing several challenges. And one of those challenges is the issue of climate change and its impact. So because the greenhouse gases are being emitted and those generate heat and high temperature that is causing serious problem. So heat waves, um, heavy winds, strong winds, do you understand? And then, of course, other environmental factors like drought, desertification, and several others. Do you understand? So let's look at some of the key challenges and the impact of climate change uh, on our environment. right? One is the rising temperature. It's like we're coming to a period whereby everybody will understand that uh, heat, heat, the heat of government policies in the heat of government policies will combine the heat of temperature because of climate change. It will be a very serious heat. Oh. The economy will be biting you, the natural heat will be also hitting you this side because of environmental impact. Do you understand? So increasing global temperature leads towards heat waves, droughts, and extreme weather events like the hurricane I'm talking about, and then impacting agriculture. Because when the issue of flooding comes, when the issue of dam break down that happened in the northeast, what happened? Many houses were washed, many farmlands were washed, people taken back to what we consider as abject poverty. People are now in camp because of water. And these are sometimes human errors. Do you understand? So if you are not monitoring or you are monitoring and you ignore the consequences of not reducing or releasing that water, what happened will happen, and then of course human being will die. Issues, let's forget about it. Let's just move on. You understand? So these things are impacting agriculture. You understand? Because where there is no rain, people cannot go to farm. And the one they have planted, it will die off. You understand? It will dry. A friend of mine sent one video from Adamawa some times ago where all the maize, the corn, they planted, dried up. Do you understand? Because of what drought. There was no water. A long period of drought. And what happened? Everything died. Do you understand? So what do you expect? No harvest. And of course, it's going to cost them a lot. So this is impacting water resources as well. Water is being dried. Do you understand? And then our public health are also being, a challenge. Communicable diseases here and there. Do you understand? So as a result of environmental factors. So rising temperature is one of the challenge that is confronting the environment. Another challenge, all right, that is confronting the environment is changing precipitation patterns. Changing what? Precipitation patterns. That is the way rain falls. Like, okay, when I was in Jigawa some times ago, before we moved to Abuja, sometime, although it happened, I stayed in Jigawa for 3 years. In those 3 years, the coming of the rain was not consistent. All right. Okay, maybe my first year there, that was 2020. We experienced a rain like April. You understand? The third year, the second year, we experienced rain like the first rain like May. My third year there, we experienced the first rain in June. Now, this year, with what I heard, they say that they experienced rain around July, August. Do you understand? So, changing precipitation patterns is also a problem because people may not know when to plant. And of course, you see, in the north, rain starts late and finishes early. Do you understand? So that is the challenge. You experience late lanes and then, of course, quick, um, you know, harmattan and dry period. So that's what is happening there. So plantation or farming activities may, may be, thwarted. They may be delayed, and of course that will affect food security and several other factors. Do you understand? So these are the issue. So changing precipitation patterns is also what is being caused by climate change, and this thing is having heavy impact on our environment. Do you understand? So climate change alters precipitation patterns, leading to more frequent and intense rainfall in some regions and drought in others, while others are solving, flood. Others are kind of, they need that flood so that they can make use of, do you understand, water. So they are just wishing that let that flood to their area. You understand? So sea level rise, the water bodies are rising. They rise overboard. They rise beyond the river banks. Do you understand? And then cause what we call flooding. Do you understand? So these things, the water bodies are rising, the rivers are rising because of several other factors. And then, of course, uh, the melting of ice caps and thermal expansion of seawater, threaten coastal communities. Like people in Lagos, sometimes they receive it what we call wato wato. In our country here, there's a language for those of you that are not familiar with Nigerian language. There's what we call wato wato. So you receive it where? Do you understand? So if it's beating, you receive it where? So those our coastal areas sometimes they receive the heavy blow of what we call floods. Do you understand? Because as a result of what the sea level rise. Do you understand? Or the rise in sea level. So it's also affecting environment, and of course it causes what erosion, and erosion also affects um, agricultural activities. Do you understand? So these are the issues, right? And these things are being caused by what climate change, and they are affecting our environment. I don't know whether I'm making sense at all. Am I making sense? All right, let's look at extreme weather events. Extreme what? Weather events. Extreme weather events. Climate change intensifies extreme weather events such as hurricanes, cyclones, floods, and wildfire. There was one issue of wildfire sometime last year in Chile. It was a very terrible situation. In 2020, while the COVID-19 was going on, Australia was crying. Over 5 billion species of animals died. Do you understand? In Australia, we have several animals. Do you understand? If you want to see the kangaroos, go to Australia. They even move in people's houses. Do you understand? So, and because of wildfire, several of them died. The statistics I read at that time says that about 5 billion uh, biodiversity, or that is lives of animals were lost. Do you understand? Several species of animals, bears, and so many of them died. Do you understand? As a result of wildfire. So these are the issues. Extreme weather events. So these events can cause widespread destruction, displacement. People were displaced. You understand? In America, in Canada, wildfire. Do you understand? So all of these things are happening. Loss of life and economic disruption are being caused by this thing, because like the issue I'm talking about, the hurricane returning that is happening in US now, disrupt business activities. Those people that were in the area where it's being affected now ran away, and of course the economic activities are being halted. Do you understand? Are being disrupted because they cannot do anything now until, and some of them by the time they go back, hurricane must have cleared some of the things. Do you understand? Must have destroyed some of the things. So these are the challenges. So, and this is being caused by what? Climate change. So it's a challenge to our environment. Then we'll talk about loss of what? Biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity. Climate change contributes to habitat loss. Habitat what? Loss. A species extinction. Species what? Extinction. Because some of those animals or species or lives that died as a result of wildfire, that may be the end. You may not see such again. You know, a very so it's going to affect the reproduction of such lives, and of course, you see, it will become a problem. So and then and of course, as a result, the ecosystem is being disrupted. Snakes were entering the in those sometimes ago in Makodi there was a flooding, and then dangerous snakes were in people's houses. Do you understand? Dangerous animals were found in people's houses. Crocodiles find their way into people's houses. Why? Because of such. So displacement of the ecosystem is also a problem. So we look at health impacts. What are the health impacts? There are also health impacts, health issues that climate change is being caused. All right. So we're talking about the exacerbation of health risk, including the heat-related illness. Like some people die of heat in this country, but they are not aware that it's heat that kill them. Do you understand? Because we feel that, oh, our environment is already hot. No, we do have extreme measures, extreme heat. Do you understand? And they kill people, more lives. If we go to the north, you discover that in the heat period, many people die. And you're wondering what is the cause of the problem. It's heat. Some of them die as a result of heat. Do you understand? Heat. That is, if you go to the north, one time says that they bury people in heat period more than when it's normal period, like this time around where it's raining and everywhere is okay. Do you understand? Because of heat. So heat related illness and deaths are being recorded. Respiratory problems, right, from air pollution, vector-borne diseases, and food insecurity, are some of the issues. Because we are some of these things are being affected, farmland affected, then malnutrition or malnutrition take place. Do you understand? Malnutrition occurs. Children are being malnourished, they don't have enough to eat. And of course, some of these people depend on subsistence agricultural system that they farm and then eat and survive. And then flood will just come and wash everything away. And of course, they don't have any food to eat. So malnutrition setting, disease setting, kwashiorkor, and several others setting. Do you understand? So these are the issues. So the issue of climate change is also having a very heavy toll on health sector. Health sector. So children have been suffered, the elderly have been suffered, and low income communities, that's people that are not any much also are facing the issue as we are discussing even right now. Are you with me? So if I'm making sense, let me know. I can see some of us are commenting, some of those making comments. Yes. Subsistence agricultural farming. Somebody say eat and survive. So they where they eat and so that is the issue. Do you understand? So and then flooding will come and wash it away. So where will they eat again? Do you understand? So this is the issue. So food security challenges. Food security what challenges? Food security challenges is another um, impact of climate change. And this is also taking toll on the environment. Do you understand? So changes in temperature, changes in what temperature and precipitation patterns affect agricultural productivity. So crops yields, you will experience low crops yields. Do you understand? And then of course, food availability is a problem. And that is what is generally happening now. All right. And some of these things are natural disasters. Apart from climate change, there are other natural disasters and human disasters like conflict. Like you see what is happening in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine, is affecting global food supplies. Do you understand? And it's making the cost of food um, very, very high. Do you understand? I just yesterday I said, let me ask a bag of rice. They told me that is when the fuel was not increased to 1,000 plus. I'm talking about when it was somewhere 900 something. They say a bag of rice is 110, 120, all right? 110,000 to buy a 50 kg of rice. I said they will drag and by December like this, they go reach 150. You go and buy a bag of rice, 150,000. I was just asking. I asked somebody, I thought government say we are going to open border, let them import food and bring food into the country. And then somebody asked me, so you dey believe this your government, Abi? So we cannot believe what government is saying. You understand? So, and that is why a general can, when they give food palliatives, they gather all of them and keep. I will chop all. You die. I don't care. You understand? Food is very important. So these are some of the issues. That's why if you go to this some of these politicians' houses, food is installed. Some of them got it from government palliatives. That's why some of them don't want to leave government too, because so much enjoyment there, so much enjoyment. Because things work haphazard in our system here. So when food is meant for the poor people, they will go and keep it. If you brand it during campaigns and say, thank you, governor, is doing thank you for people, they give you a bag of rice, you vote them again, and then they use koboko again on you. Now what we are enjoying now is what we call koboko. It's like it's a whip, right? But there is another one that we will enjoy if we still vote this government. That one we call, you know, I like the name to give tough policies. So we need to just pray that we will not have problems. We will not have problems. We will not have problems. We pray. Let's just pray. Let me not be on the negative perspective, because in emotional intelligence we say that we should think positively, right? And talk positively. So let's talk positively of our government and the policies government is taking. If we must criticize, let's criticize objectively, so that we will not end up being depressed. Because you criticize government anyhow, it means that you are rendering yourself in the state of hopelessness, and that hopelessness brings despair, and despair is also render you into what depression, and that depression can lead to some people who cannot be able to bear it, kill themselves, right? Or some who doesn't have strong will die prematurely. Do you understand? So these are the issues. So water scarcity is also another climate change impact on environment, right? Water is being scarce. Water is being scarce. Why? Because of what? Climate change. Climate change impacts water availability, quality, and distribution. So, like now, they are putting some water pipelines in Abuja area, but where will the water be going? It will be going to Metama, it will be going to Asoko, it will be going to Amtape, they will be going to Guzape, they will go into those places where the top guys, the the big boys in Abuja, do you understand? Why for those of us that are in Sabon, we are on our own. That is, we are work on what we call Oyo on your own. You understand? So you buy water and look, buy water and look like this. You understand? Or you have to burn and fuel to pump water. You understand? So it's as if boreholes are in every house. That also is a problem. As some times ago, Dino Malay was saying that Abuja is vibrating. Abuja is vibrating. Abuja is vibrating. Do you understand? And these are, you know, these are what we call the tremors. That those tremors as what can degenerate into what we call um what do you call it? Um volcano volcano eruption. Do you understand? Yes, the volcano eruption. So because they are earth tremors, do you understand? So they can cause volcano eruption. And then people say, they say, well, people that understand geographers and the other uh, environmental specialists say, well, there's nothing wrong with Abuja. Or somebody was complaining that Abuja is vibrating. Do you understand? So economic disruptions. So climate change poses risks to economics through damage to what infrastructure. Like um, I saw the hurricane things, what is happening in US, moving trees, moving electric poles. I get the point now. I say if those people don't have a good maintenance culture, it would have been a rubbish place, right? Not to even visit in the first place. If they have a culture like our own, whereby roads are being spoiled, but nobody wants to address it. And when they want to address it, they do it anyhow and collect the money and go back and sit down. Do you understand? So disruptions to supply chains, whole supply chains being disrupted, increased insurance costs, and loss of livelihoods in sectors vulnerable to climate impact. So economic sectors such as agriculture, tourism, and fisheries are particularly vulnerable so far as these issues are concerned. So social and political challenges. Yes, social and political challenges. Poor governance, bad policies of government are also some of the issues. So climate change can exacerbate social inequalities because you give foods, palliatives to go and give people. One person will gather it, give to his friend, give to some people that are close to him, keep the rest in his warehouse and be eating with his family. He retire, food is in the bank, and others continue to perish. So that's why it is. So social inequalities, displacement, and conflict over resources. Is it not what's happening in the north central, where herders are crashing with farmers and all of that? Is it not happening already? It's happening. Conflict over resources. Some of you fight. Some of you here might have even fought for what pieces of land. Say this land is mine. This one is mine. So resources. So vulnerable populations, marginalized communities, and developing countries are disproportionately affected by climate impacts, leading to social tensions and political instability. All right. So these are some of the impacts of climate change on the environment that we have mentioned here. Can we do a way of recap? Just mention some of them. We'll talk about rising temperature. We talk about changing precipitation patterns, sea level rise. We talk about extreme weather events. We talk about loss of biodiversity. We talk about health impacts. We talk about food security challenges. We talk about water scarcity, economic disruption, social and political challenges. You understand? So these are some of the issues. So addressing the challenges of climate change requires urgent and coordinated action at local, regional, national and international levels. Do you understand? So, and that's why the Paris Agreement was signed, so that climate change impact can be mitigated. And so we cannot sit and fold our hands and say, well, people who are receiving it now should pay for it. But what about us? What are we doing differently to avoid what they are experiencing to be our experience? So it may not be necessary that what they experience we should experience it, but the way we are doing, I'm not sure that we may not experience what they are experiencing. And already we are experiencing some, most especially flooding. So biodiversity conservation is going to be our last topic for today. Biodiversity conservation, right? So the healthiness of the ecosystem is very important, and we must conserve and preserve our ecosystem and the biodiversity. Very critical, right? Very critical. And when we're talking about biodiversity, what are we talking about? Because I've been talking about biodiversity. Some of you may not understand what biodiversity is all about. So, biodiversity refers to the variety of life forms on Earth. A variety of life forms on Earth, all right? So, which includes plants, which includes animals, which includes fungi, which includes microorganisms, all right? And other ecosystem habitats, including man, biodiversity. So biodiversity provides essential ecosystem services such as clean air and water, pollination, climate regulations, and soil fertility, which are crucial for human survival and well-being. We live in ecosystem. That's why sometimes we kill lions. Sometimes lions kill us. You understand? Because that's how the ecosystem works. We eat on certain animals. All right. Why? Well, those animals survive on grasses, some survive on animals, so they are competing. You know, the lion likes to eat antelope very well. Do you understand? They like to eat antelope, and of course the hyenas, the cheetahs, they love eating antelopes. Do you understand? Of course, human beings also like eating all of those ones. So we need to conserve them. The water, as the one of the supersonic machines we have in the bush. It can run like it doesn't have brake, right? So all of those species must be preserved. They must be protected so that we'll continue to have them. Because by the time lions doesn't have buffaloes to eat, they will begin to eat human beings because we live in the ecosystem. So feed them with buffaloes, feed them with antelopes, feed them with other animals in the environment for them to survive. Right? So, but this must be preserved. I told you how we finished rats in my area because of hunting. You understand? Because we need to eat meat. You understand? So that is it. So, what are the threats to biodiversity? We have several threats to biodiversity. Biodiversity is facing several and numerous threats, and one of them is what? Habitat destruction. Habitat destruction. Climate species, that's species that are resistant to whatever. Some are resistant to chemicals. Some are you spray chemical, they refuse to die. Do you understand? Very strong and very stubborn. Do you understand? Then we have over exploitation of natural resources, overuse of natural resources, and unsustainable land use practices. Unsustainable. We farm land, we farm until the land is saying, I am tired. Give me space, let me rest. Shift here to another place, come back in 2 years, I will be back for you. No way, because there's no place to be shifted. So it's you and you. So continue to provide food for my family. And then the land say, well, I'm tired, I cannot produce any longer. You can plant, but don't be surprised that if you used to get 5 bags of groundnut here, today you are getting 1 bag. So it will surprise you. The environment tells you in a simply and in a hard way that I am tired. That's why I give you 1 bag. I used to give you 5 bags. Today I give you just 1 bag because I am tired. That is the environment for you. Threats to what? Biodiversity. So what are the conservation strategies that we need to put in place? Are there conservation strategies we must put in place to make sure that the eco diversity is, or the diversity, the biodiversities are being protected? One is protected areas. We have the Yankari Game Reserve, where animals are being protected, right? We have several other places. We have the safaris, where animals are being protected. Do you understand? Uh-huh. Some of you used to travel to Tanzania, to other countries to go and witness those things I'm talking about in Kenya, in East Africa generally. We have several of them there. You understand? So you travel to those places to go and witness what I'm talking about here. So establish and manage protected areas such as national parks, wildlife reserves, and marine protected areas to safeguard biodiversity and preserve critical habitats so that you cannot go and use chemical and harvest all the fishes in the water. No way. If you enter there, they will arrest you. There are certain places that are being reserved. You cannot go and fish there. Who born you? You understand? Who born you? Habitat restoration. Another strategy is, so apart from protected areas, to preserve lives that are there, we have to do what we call habitat restoration. That is, promote sustainable land use practices such as agroforestry. Agro what? Forestry. So when you harvest one tree, replant it. Let afforestation take place at every point of deforestation. So once you fail one tree, make sure that another is standing to take that place. You understand? So sustainable agriculture and land use planning that balance human needs with biodiversity conservation goals is needed. So habitat restoration is one of the strategies of conservation. We talk about species conservation. That is, implement species specific conservation programs such as captive breeding, habitat restoration, and what anti-poaching effort, anti-poaching effort. Do you understand? To protect endangered species and prevent their extinctions. Some of those animals are being extincted. Do you understand? But we can bring them back to life. We can conserve them. We can keep them in one place and surround. Nobody farms there. Nobody enters there. Nobody does anything. Nothing in that place. So community engagement. So it's community that is at the forefront of harvesting some of these lives. Do you understand? So community must be engaged. If you want results, engage all stakeholders, and basically the community where those uh, parks or game reserves and whatever are being kept. Otherwise, hunters may find their way in, kill lion, kill elephant, kill and zebra, kill giraffe, kill everything killable. You understand? Education and awareness. Education and awareness, right? Today, you are receiving the awareness and the education. So raise awareness about the importance of biodiversity conservation through education. This is what you are listening to now. Outreach programs, which we'll be doing next year mostly, and public campaigns, all right? So foster environmental stewardship and promote sustainability, all right? That's what it is. So policy and governance. Policy and governance is also another key component or key strategies in addressing the issue of the loss of biodiversity. So policies and governance develop and implement policies, laws, and regulations that support biodiversity conservation, right? Sustainable use of natural resources and enforcement of conservation measures. In some places, a key animal in the game reserve or in a reserve area, in a protected area, you are going to prison for sure, right? Nobody is saying forgive him. No, you go and face prison terms. After you serve your prison terms, you come back and you'll be integrated. So policies and programs that support that can be helpful. Then we'll talk about international agreements. Support international agreements and initiatives that promote biodiversity conservation, such as the the Convention on Biodiversity, CBD, the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. All right, fauna and flora. All right, so these are some of the issues. So international agreement, like that of Paris Agreement, and several other ones that have been in existence can be deployed to make sure that our biodiversity is protected. Then finally, monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and what evaluation. So when you put in some of these strategies in place, monitor to see that they are going as planned. All right. Monitor to see that there is success story being created. If the trend is going off point, you call attention to it yourself and address it. So monitor biodiversity trends, assess the effectiveness of conservation measures, and evaluate the impact of human activities on biodiversity. So this is what it is. So by adopting a holistic approach to biodiversity conservation that integrates ecological, social, and economic consideration, stakeholders can work together to protect and sustainably manage biodiversity for the benefit of present and future generations. That's what we're talking about. So that you meet your needs today without compromising the needs of future generations. That's what we call sustainable development. Meeting your needs today and not compromising the needs, the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. Do you understand? So that is what it is. So tomorrow we'll be looking at sustainable urban development. Sustainable urban development. So those of you that want to do business in waste management, and those of you that you know design buildings and projects for people and companies, please make sure that we'll be here tomorrow to learn sustainable urban development. All right. So are we together? Hope we are together, right? So I'm checking the comment section. If I see any question, I will take it. If I do not see any question, we'll call it a day. All right. So, but by and large, I want to appreciate all of you for your participation. And the flyer for peace and conflict management professional diploma training is out. We'll soon be posting it. All right. We'll soon be posting it so that you can that's one of our main courses. So I want everybody to participate. That's why we are releasing the flyer on time so that many people can register for it and then join the WhatsApp group on time. We want to say thousands of people register for that course, peace and conflict management. So we have somebody's asking a question. Please, sir, do we have wildlife management here in Nigeria? Of course, we have. We are, I mentioned one of them. I mentioned Yankari Game Reserve in Bauchi State is one of them. All right, it's a reserve, and several animals are there. All right, so Yankari Game Reserve. I think there are others as well. So that we have in the country. Do you understand? So if anybody knows another one, you can mention it. Me, I mentioned one, Yankari Game Reserve. So you can also mention the one you know. So we have several of them available. So the flyer for peace and conflict management is going to be out. I'll post it today. I'll post the link for those that are interested to do peace and conflict management course. It's one of our core courses. All right. So we want to see thousands of people register for that course. So if we release and share the link, please do way to share to at least 10 people. Let them also participate. You understand? Just share the link, let them register and be part of it. This one, I'm not talking about Facebook link, I'm talking about the form because I'm going to release with a form attached to it. So you share the form, the link for the form, let them fill the form. We are listening it early so that people can register for the course very well. And you are going to help us to do the distribution, all right, so that people can get access to the form and fill and be part of the training. Peace and conflict management, all right. So thank you very much. And that one's going to be November. We're doing it in November, all right. As soon as we finish this one, we'll start that one. So try and cooperate with us to assist to spread the message so that we get a lot of people to participate. Any other question? Somebody's asking me, somebody's asking me whether Yankari Game Reserve is still functional. Huh? I have not been there, so but I believe it's functional. It's functional. So my question now is my questions is now that River Niger is gradually drying up, don't you think it has any effect on the Nigeria development, sir? What are the measures to take to replenish the water? Well, it actually have uh, very negative impact on Nigerian economy and development because if you see some of our power plants are, based in River Niger, and of course we have what we call Kanch Dam, which is Kanch Dam. The water is being tapped from the River Niger, and so if River Niger is being dried up, what will happen is that it will affect power generation and several other factors. Do you understand? During Yaradua administration, Yaradua proposed to dredge River Niger and River Benue. So the reason why it's dry is because it's not deep enough. River Niger and River Benue, they are not deep enough because sand has covered the river. So what we need to do is to dredge the river, let it be deep, so that it can be able to accommodate more water. But now water comes and floats immediately, do you understand, over river banks, and so it floats and then go away. So, but if the rivers are so deep, it can contain the water, and of course we can use it in order for other economic activities like have seaports. What is wrong if we have seaport in that use the route of River Benue and that of River Niger? There's nothing wrong about that. You can take it, you can bring it to Lagos, you can create other mini ports like like for instance maybe in Benue or Kogi and then in other places. Then you bring some of these things, so and you decongest the Apapa and the Tinkanda port and whatever ports that are in Lagos. Do you understand? But politics has not allowed us to do some of these things. Although Yaradua wanted to dredge River Benue and River Niger, but as soon as he died, nobody wants to tamper with that project because it's capital intensive. It's very, very capital intensive, but it can be done. can be down. So that's what we need to do, sir. We must dredge our rivers so that they can contain more water. Water is being wasted. Do you understand? It's being wasted because the rivers are not deep. So we need to dredge them so that it can accommodate water. It can lodge water. Do you understand? So that's what it is. I don't know whether I answer your question. Please, when we the peace and conflict management training starts, it's November. It's starting 1st November. 1st November. 1st November. That's the November training. It's going to be November training. So we are going to release the flyer. You see it. You also see the link to register so that you can register for it. Somebody's asking, what if government policies and regulations and okay are not obeyed? What happens? Uh, if government policies and regulations are not obeyed, government should enforce them. All right. So government has the instrumentality to enforce policies of government. So if there are good policies that will help people, let them be enforced. If they are enforcing fuel subsidy, why not? They can enforce any other policy. Do you understand? So if particularly government policy are not obeyed, then government should enforce them. That's why they have all the instrumentality to enforce it. We have the DS, we have the police, we have the civil defense, we have even they are proposing what we call the forestry, whatever other preserve or Nigerian hunters and within forestry, whatever. They are they are to protect the animals in the bush. You understand? All these areas that need to be protected, they need to be protected. So that's why they're talking about all those things. What they call the hunters guard or whatever, forestry guard or something, something. Somebody's asking questions here. So my last question, sir. Global warming is taking more hard space in our climate. The industry and manufacturing companies aren't held responsible for some damages. What can you say about that? Because more industries are coming in, sir. All right. And when more industries are coming in, and we expect those industries to, uh, um, be eco-friendly. Do you understand? Those industries are emerging, new industries are coming up should be eco-friendly. And then, of course, those multinational companies, international multinational organizations that have been in existence and have contributed to what is happening, they have to also contribute to Paris Agreement. If you look at the Paris Agreement, it does not just focus on government institution alone or on head of government or state alone to contribute. The private sectors also have a part, a role to play because it's going to be one of their social responsibilities. Do you understand? So some of these in climate change issues. So they are not being left out. The agreement actually, the Paris Agreement captured the place for the private sector and what they need to do and how much they need to contribute because part of their social responsibility. You understand? So they need to contribute to make sure that the issue of climate change is being addressed. And of course, they begin to also they also will begin to transit from uh, you know the uh, fossil fuel consumption to renewable energy uses for their manufacturing production activities. And I think that will be fine. Do you understand? So I think they are not being left out. There is a part for them in the Paris Agreement. They also have a role to play to make sure that these issues are being mitigated. So they are going to also contribute to bring this to pass. So that is it. So I don't know whether I answer your question, sir. All right, thank you very much. This is the much we can take for today. We hope to see you tomorrow. Hope to see you tomorrow by 7 p.m. as we continue on this course. For those of you that did training on alternative dispute resolution, try and make your presentation so that you write your exams. I want us to write the exams by next before the month end, like 25th of this month. So, but the more you try as much as possible to do your presentation, the better, so that we can write our exams and move. I'm talking about those that did training on ADR, alternative dispute resolution. I'm not talking about this one. This one, you're going to write your exam first week of November. All right. So that's it. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful night rest. We'll see you tomorrow.